Okay, so have you ever felt like just overwhelmed with stuff? Like you're drowning in information.
You mean like emails and deadlines and just all the things?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
you're just trying to stay afloat
Yeah.
in this sea of information and everything coming at you.
All right.
Well, that's kind of what we're diving into today. And the source material we're looking at today uses this really cool metaphor
Oh.
to describe exactly that.
Nice.
So it talks about like being caught in a stormy sea.
Oh, wow.
To kind of represent how it feels when you're dealing with like negative thoughts,
Yeah.
stress, and just all the things that kind of like weigh us down in life.
Yeah, that's a really powerful image. I think a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, and it really like paints a picture. You know, it's
Oh.
not just like an abstract concept. It's
Yeah.
like you're really there in this little boat and,
Right.
the waves are crashing all around you.
Oh, I can just imagine it. Yeah.
Yeah, the wind is howling and it's dark and
Scary.
scary. Yeah, exactly.
Like completely out of control.
Exactly, and you're just getting like tossed around by these huge waves.
So how does the source actually connect that to like information overload specifically?
Well, it talks about how it's that feeling of being completely swamped. Right?
Mhm.
So like all those deadlines and decisions and all that information, it's all kind of like crashing down on you at once.
Yeah, like a wave. Yeah.
Yeah, like each wave is like a giant to-do list item
Totally.
that you haven't checked off yet.
Yeah, and the source really emphasizes, how each wave just feels like another setback
Right.
or another obstacle, and you're constantly like fighting to keep your head above water.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
It is, yeah.
So, but then, in this metaphor, you're in this boat, you're getting tossed around by the waves, and it's like dark and stormy and scary, and then all of a sudden you see it,
What?
a glimmer of light,
Oh.
a lighthouse.
Ooh, a lighthouse. Okay.
So what do you think that represents in real life?
That's a good question. I mean, when we're feeling overwhelmed, it's got to be something that brings us hope, right?
Yeah.
Some kind of guidance, some kind of safety.
Exactly.
I guess it could be anything, really. It could be like a person you trust,
Mm-hmm.
or, maybe it's a strategy you've learned that always helps you calm down.
Like a productivity hack.
Yeah, exactly, like a productivity hack, or even just like a clear understanding of what you need to do.
Right. So it's like that moment of clarity
Yes,
where
exactly.
you kind of like see the path forward,
Yeah.
even though you're still in the storm.
So it's not like the lighthouse magically makes the storm go away. It's
Right.
more like it gives you a direction to steer in.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, I like that.
So instead of just letting the storm, toss you around,
Right, just being reactive. Yeah.
you're like, okay, I see the lighthouse.
Yeah.
I'm going to grab the wheel and I'm going to steer towards it.
Take control.
Exactly.
Much easier said than done, though, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because sometimes those waves are just so huge.
Yeah. And it can be really hard to even like see the lighthouse sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. But the source makes this really interesting point.
Okay.
It says that even just starting to turn that wheel,
Mm-hmm.
like even making that tiny little effort
Yeah.
to steer towards the lighthouse,
Yeah.
that's a huge step.
Okay.
Because every time you adjust that wheel, every time you kind of, fight against those waves and make a little course correction,
Yeah.
you're telling yourself you're taking control.
That you're not going to just let the storm
Right.
take you wherever it wants.
Exactly. You're taking charge of the situation.
I like that.
Yeah. So it's like each of those little course corrections is like a conscious effort to kind of like shift your focus
Okay.
and regain control.
So it's like even if I'm still in the middle of the storm,
Yeah.
the act of like steering towards a solution
Mm-hmm.
is already starting to calm things down.
That's a really good point. Yeah. Because it's like you're not just reacting to the waves anymore. You're actually being proactive.
Exactly.
You're like, okay, I see where I need to go and I'm going to start moving in that direction.
Yeah, and the source actually describes how as you get closer to the lighthouse, like as you start making progress,
Yeah.
the waves actually start to calm down.
Oh, wow.
The wind dies down, and it's like the storm itself starts to kind of like dissipate.
So it's like a direct correlation between
Yeah.
taking action and like the intensity of the storm.
Exactly. And it's because you're shifting your focus.
Right. Okay.
You're not focused on the storm anymore.
Right. You're focused on the solution.
Yeah, you're focused on the lighthouse.
Yeah.
You're focused on the path forward.
So those overwhelming thoughts and feelings,
Yeah.
they kind of start to lose their power over you.
Because you're not giving them as much attention anymore.
Yeah. And you're also, you're doing something about it.
Right. You're not just sitting there passively.
Exactly. You're taking charge.
Okay, so let's say we've battled through the storm. We've made it to the lighthouse.
Yeah.
The sea is calm. The sky is clear. We can finally relax.
Take a deep breath.
Right, so is that like the happy ending? Have we solved all our problems?
Well, not necessarily. The source actually takes it a step further.
Okay.
Remember how we said that the storm kind of represents all those like negative thoughts and feelings and anxieties?
Yeah.
Well, when you reach the lighthouse, you realize something pretty amazing.
What's that?
The storm was never really real.
Wait, what do you mean?
It was all in your head.
Okay.
It was a manifestation of your fears and your doubts.
So you're saying like the storm wasn't actually happening?
It was happening in your mind,
Right.
and that's what was causing you all the stress.
So it's like those times when I've, stressed about a presentation for weeks, and then once it's over, I'm like, oh,
It wasn't that bad.
it wasn't that bad.
Exactly. The source is saying that our perception often creates much bigger storms than reality.
That's a good point.
And the real victory is realizing that you had the power to navigate through it all along.
So it's not that the challenges aren't real.
Right.
It's that we sometimes make them bigger.
Exactly. We give them more power than they deserve.
Wow. That's some serious food for thought.
It is.
So we've kind of unpacked this whole metaphor of the stormy sea and the lighthouse. But what can our listener actually take away from this and apply to their own life?
Well, I think the key takeaway is to figure out what your lighthouses are.
Okay.
Because everyone's different.
Yeah.
So when you feel that information overload hitting, when those anxieties start swirling,
Yeah.
what are your go-to strategies?
Yeah.
What are the things that help you find clarity and direction?
That's a really good point. I think
Yeah.
that's a great place to end it.
Yeah.
Because it's a reminder that, even though we all face storms in life, we all have the power to navigate them
Yeah.
and find our way to calmer waters.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
I'll see you next time.
See ya!
Bye.
Bye!